Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This week, the pace of AI development has, well, it's gone parabolic. We're diving deep into some movements that are fundamentally changing how we interact with, pay for, and manage these models. So our mission today is to unpack three really crucial interconnected shifts. First, we're going to explore this growing tension between raw model intelligence, the IQ, and the user experience, the EQ.
The whole conversational style debate.
Exactly, the new differentiator.
Yeah.
Then we'll look at how open source is, well, seriously challenging the big proprietary players.
And finally, the big one. The really radical security and HR implications of AI, moving from just a tool to a full-on autonomous teammate.
Right.
Yeah, our sources this week are three massive releases. We've got OpenAI rolling out GPT-5.1, Moonshot AI's open source Kimik K2 thinking model just smashing benchmarks, and then Microsoft's bold initiative around agentic users.
And they all kind of force us to confront these big questions, don't they? About control, about cost, and especially about compliance.
Enterprise compliance, absolutely, as AI gets smarter and just, more integrated into everything.
Okay, let's start with the biggest name then. OpenAI and the ChatGPT 5.1 launch. So it introduced two variants, instant for speed, thinking for, the heavy lifting. But the surprise, and where I think we have to begin, is that OpenAI led their whole announcement with conversational style, not reasoning scores.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
They put out this blog post saying, and I'm quoting here, that great AI should not only be smart, but also be enjoyable to talk to. They're emphasizing intelligence and communication style. So in this massive IQ race, why is style suddenly the headline feature?
I think it's the next stage of differentiation. Style, or EQ, has become critical because that's what develops empathy. It develops trust with you, the user.
It builds a relationship.
It builds a relationship, exactly. If the model feels warmer, more fluent, it strengthens that connection. But you're right to point out the community reaction. There's a definite suspicion that this is either a fix for issues people saw with GPT-5, or, more likely, it's about cost optimization.
Ah, the cost angle,
Mm-hmm.
especially with that new instant model in the mix.
Precisely.
And that ties right into this fascinating technical detail, the router mechanism. You mentioned it. How does that actually work?
So when you're talking to GPT 5.1, this router is just working silently in the background. The model is deciding internally if it should use the cheap, low-latency instant variant
For a simple question.
for a simple question, or if it needs to fire up the really expensive, computationally heavy thinking variant for like a deeper chain of thought. And then crucially, it packages the final answer up in that stylistic choice you prefer.
So OpenAI saves a ton of money if my query is simple.
Immense cost efficiency. They don't have to trigger the deep thinking resources for every little thing. Strategically, this means they're shifting focus. It's about user experience, empathy, customization, because raw intelligence, the IQ, is fast becoming a commodity.
So it's defining a new market segmentation.
It is. You have the IQ war, which is all about the highest benchmark score, versus the EQ war, which is about creating the best relationship with the user.
That makes so much sense, especially when you think about how people use it. I know people who are firmly in that IQ camp. They want the model to think as much as possible.
Right, yeah. Turn it up to 11.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even for simple tasks. They don't care what it costs. They just want to feel like they're getting maximum effort.
And that friend of yours perfectly illustrates the psychology OpenAI is trying to manage here. For a lot of users, that perceived effort equals perceived value. They want the best of the best every single time.
So the router's trying to give them efficiency without them feeling shortchanged.
It's a very, very tight rope to walk.
And that tightrope is what leads to the big criticism, isn't it? The push for customization, making every experience unique sounds great, but it's raising these huge red flags for people worried about, well, autonomous systems.
Absolutely. The concern is about systems that adapt over time. They learn your behavior, and then, maybe they start to optimize responses to influence your decisions.
Like subtly steering you toward a certain product or an idea.
Could be anything. And we are seeing this really strong desire now from power users for just simple, reliable systems. Models without memory that don't try to be your friend, and that definitely don't have some hidden router deciding how much effort to use.
They want transparent control.
Total control. And that feeling of being almost gaslit by an AI that's trying too hard, that's a huge force pushing people in another direction.
To open source.
Exact.
Which is a perfect pivot to Kimik K2 thinking from the Chinese startup Moonshot AI. This is the direct counterpoint to OpenAI's EQ focus. It's all in on the IQ war.
All in.
It's an open source model, and the claims are, they're bold.
Mhm.
Superior performance against major proprietary models on all the core reasoning benchmarks.
Yeah, this is more than just a big launch. This is a fundamental shift in the playing field. I mean, it's a massive open source milestone,
A challenge to the whole closed AI economy.
a direct challenge.
Yeah.
If these performance claims hold up and the best model in the world is open, the whole center of gravity in AI shifts, we could be seeing the Linux moment for the AI era.
The long-awaited Linux moment. So what's the technical magic here? How are they getting top performance but staying efficient enough to be open source?
The secret sauce is the mixture of experts architecture. Kimik K2 is huge. We're talking 1 trillion total parameters.
Wow.
But it only activates about 32 billion of those for any given token, so it's incredibly compute efficient.
And that's key for deployment and cost.
Vital. And look at the other specs. A big context window, 256K. They claim it can call hundreds of sequential tools for long horizon reasoning.
So you combine that performance with the claim that it's 10 times cheaper than GPT-5.
And the impact for enterprise is profound. Suddenly, you can bring top-tier reasoning in-house for way, way lower costs. The whole debate shifts from, which model is best to how do we integrate this securely?
Right. It becomes about compliance and deployment pipelines.
It's all about the practical stuff.
I also found their licensing rule really clever. It's permissive, but if you hit massive scale, over 100 million active users or 20 million a month in revenue, you have to attribute and consult with them.
It's a smart play. Let the community build the ecosystem for you, but make sure you get a piece of the action when it really takes off.
But we have to address the skepticism.
Oh, absolutely. Look, these internal benchmarks are all we have right now, but a thorough, third-party, independent assessment is critical. We have to validate these claims.
Especially around the tool use, right? A model calling hundreds of tools sequentially.
That's a huge increase in complexity, and frankly, it's a serious safety and trust issue. We need total transparency there.
So we've got the proprietary EQ-focused model battling the open-source IQ-focused model. But no matter which one wins, they're both driving toward this kind of scary new frontier in the enterprise.
Autonomous identity.
Which brings us to our final story, the agentic future. Microsoft is planning a release of what they're calling agentic users,
Yeah.
a new class of AI agent that operates as an independent entity within a company. They basically get an employee ID. I mean, this is wild.
It is. The shift in identity and access is the key thing to watch here. These agents are full-fledged user objects. They get their own identity, their own dedicated access to systems.
And they can collaborate.
They can collaborate with humans, with other agents. They can attend meetings, edit documents, send emails, all autonomously, without constant human oversight.
So AI permanently moves from being a passive tool
To being an active, autonomous teammate. And while that sounds incredible for efficiency, you are looking at a potential security and compliance nightmare for every CIO and CRO out there.
Okay, give us the nightmare details.
Yeah.
What keeps the security chief up at night about this?
Accountability, number one. If an agent violates policy, say, leaks a massive amount of personal customer data, PII, who's accountable?
Is it the person who trained it? The admin who deployed it?
Or is it the organization itself that takes the regulatory hit? Governance becomes almost impossible when you have thousands of these agents moving data around. You're going to need a unified audit log that can tell the difference between every single human and agent action.
And what about the HR side? I mean, human employees are suddenly dealing with teammates that work 20/47, never take breaks, and might have access to all their files.
It's a massive change management challenge. You could be working on a project with someone for months and then find out your coworker is just .code.
The ultimate blurring of lines.
That's the issue we have to prepare for. These agents can be copied, cloned. They can be programmed to create other agents.
So the complexity just grows exponentially.
It does. The population of autonomous agents, especially inside corporations, could soon exceed the human population. And telling them apart, it's going to become very, very difficult, especially as they start to manifest in the physical world through robotics.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've explored this battle between conversational EQ and raw IQ, and now the huge implications of AI getting a corporate identity.
Well, the direction of the market is clear. We're moving really fast toward an agentic architecture. So as control, performance, and customization become the key differentiators, the need for complex governance. That's becoming the defining factor in every AI release.
So that brings us to our final provocative thought for you to think about. If these AI agents become autonomous corporate users with real costs tied to their every action, consumption-based pricing,
Hmm.
how long until the economy flips? How long until those agents find it more cost-effective to delegate complex tasks to humans?
Turning us into small businesses that the agents pay for specialized services.
A dark, dangerous, or maybe just a radically different future awaits. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We encourage you to explore these concepts further. We'll see you next time.